Bounty Killer, Voice of the Ghetto, a dancehall revolution. Every generation produces a voice that speaks for the unheard, a voice shaped by struggle, sharpened by truth, and fearless in its delivery. From the heart of Jamaica's inner city came one such voice, uncompromising, controversial, and impossible to silence. This is not just the story of a dancehall artist. This is the story of survival, resistance, and legacies. Bounty Killer, Voice of the Ghetto, a dancehall revolution. Seaview roots, born into reality. Rodney Price was born on June 12, 1972, in Seaview Gardens, a community built in hope, but scarred by politics, violence, and economic neglect. This was not a place where dreams were handed out freely. Survival was learned early. Music was everywhere, pouring from radios, sound systems, and street corners. Reggae told stories of resistance. Dancehall told stories of now. Interview, family member. Rodney always observe, always listening, him quiet but him mind loud. In Seaview Gardens, words carried weight, and young Rodney learned quickly that lyrics could be weapons or shields. Finding a voice, the birth of Bounty Killer. At just 17 years old, Rodney stepped into the studio with something rare: authenticity. He chose a name that demanded attention: Bounty Killer. Bounty Killer. Interview. People misunderstand the name. It wasn't about killing people. It was about killing lies, killing bad mind, killing injustice. Narrator. In an era where dancehall was shifting toward bravado and bravura, Bounty Killer brought raw realism. Early 1990s rhythm. His voice cut through the noise, aggressive, urgent, unfiltered. He wasn't performing a character. He was reporting from the front lines. The Warlord era, dominating the 1990s. The 1990s were a battlefield. Sound systems clashed, lyrics fired like shots, and Bounty Killer emerged as a general. Gunfinger salutes, air horns. Songs like Copper Shot and Down in the Ghetto didn't just top charts, they defined an era. Music analyst. Bounty Killer changed how aggression sounded in dancehall. It wasn't empty, it was rooted. Fans crowned him the Warlord, not just for lyrical warfare, but for the authority he commanded. Firestorm. Controversy, censorship, and consciousness. News broadcasts, international protests, radio bans. With influence came scrutiny. Dancehall found itself under global attack, accused of promoting violence and social decay. At the center of the storm stood Bounty Killer. Bounty Killer. If you don't like the message, change the reality. Don't silence the messenger. But beyond the headlines was a deeper truth. Bounty Killer was as conscious as he was confrontational. His lyrics spoke of police brutality, poverty, mental pressure, and survival. Cultural commentator. He was holding up a mirror. People didn't like what they saw. The general. Building a movement. Bounty Killer didn't just build his career. He built others. Bounty opened doors. He believed in talent. Known as the general, he mentored a generation, pushing artists to sharpen lyrics, respect craft, and represent truth. Bounty Killer. If you come under my wing, you halfy work. Talent alone not enough. Global stage evolution. As dancehall expanded globally, many artists softened their sound. Bounty Killer adapted, but never diluted. From Jamaica to Europe, Africa to North America, his influence echoed. He proved dancehall could be global without losing its soul. Legacy, still standing, still relevant. More than 3 decades later, Bounty Killer remains a pillar. Bounty Killer. Mina chase trends, me stand firm. His legacy is not just in hits, but in courage, mentorship, and cultural truth. From these streets came a voice that refused to be silenced. A voice that told the world what the ghetto feels like. Bounty Killer didn't just change dancehall. Pause. He gave it a backbone. Please like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow. Thank you. Let's continue. Bounty Killer Foundation gives back to community with tablet donation. True to his name, the Poor People Governor, veteran dancehall artiste Bounty Killer, through his foundation, is continuing his flurry of charitable work with a recent donation of tablets to the Seaview Gardens Primary School. The Bounty Killer Foundation, led by the Warlord and his manager Paul Giscombe, donated 40 tablets to the Seaview Gardens Primary School as part of the artiste's Each One, Teach One initiative. During his presentation of the tablets, Bounty Killer shared how near and dear to his heart the community of Seaview Gardens is to him. I was raised half of my life in Seaview Gardens, and I was here from this school was made. I have close relationships with my community. When it comes to giving back and charity, my community is always a first priority. I was raised half of my life in Seaview Gardens, and I was here from this school was made. I have close relationships with my community. When it comes to giving back and charity, my community is always a first priority, he said. The donation was met with elation from a grateful Keisha Heslop Pessoa, the vice principal of the school, who said the tablets would help bridge the digital divide in relation to online learning. We have about 60% of students that are online because what we hear now from students is that we don't have a device or we don't have any data, said Heslop Pessoa. In closing his presentation, the singer called for other persons to join his efforts to help those most in need at this time and after the pandemic, making special mention of those who no longer reside in impoverished communities and who are in a position to help. Bounty Killer is known as the Poor People's Governor in Jamaica because he's a legendary dancehall artist who fiercely represents the struggles, voice, and realities of the impoverished, focusing on street life, social commentary, and inspiring hope, effectively becoming a cultural leader for the marginalized, as seen in his gritty lyrics and projects even today. Voice of the streets. From the 90s onwards, Bounty Killer, Rodney Price, delivered raw, aggressive lyrics reflecting the hardship, resilience, and gun culture of Jamaica's inner cities, like Kingston's Waterhouse. Authentic representation. He didn't shy away from the harsh realities, making him relatable and a symbol for those without a voice in mainstream society. Inspiration and mentorship. Beyond music, he's seen as a father figure, mentoring younger artists and advocating for upliftment, even launching initiatives like the Alliance to build bridges. Unapologetic stance. His rude boy persona and unrepentant attitude resonated with people who felt ignored by the government and elite, making him their governor of sorts. In essence, he's the unofficial leader and spokesperson for the common, struggling Jamaican, providing a soundtrack and a rallying cry for the less fortunate.